What have you learned in lesson number 6? So let's do a recap of this lesson. Number 1, you have learned how to count in Spanish from 0 to infinity, how the numbers from 0 to 19 have their own word to describe them, like dos or cinco or 17, for example. How the numbers from 20 to 21 are written in just the one word. Always remember that when you spell out the word, is always going to help you with your pronunciation as well. You have also learned that from numbers 31 to 99, you need 3 words to write the number, and therefore the pronunciation needs to go along with it. And as such, we say 31 in Spanish would be 31, or 45, 45, and so on and so forth. The number 100 is the only one that uses the word cien. From 101 onwards, we use the word ciento, and then we just add the digit. So 101 will be 101, and 199 will be 199. The word ciento has no feminine. We've learned that. And but then from the 200 to 900 numbers, they do have, we do need to use them in the plural, and they also need to match with the noun. So if you are counting something that is masculine plural, then you need to say, for example, 200. Cars will be 200 coches. And if it's what you're counting is feminine plural, then you need to say 200. So 200 women would be 200 mujeres. And that happens between 200 and 900 only. And these words don't have a singular. So for example, the word 200 doesn't exist in Spanish. We have also learned that the Spanish numbers are masculine, and we have learned how to separate the thousands and the millions using a blank space, with the exception of 4-digit numbers, where we do not use a blank space, we don't use a comma, and we don't use a dot either. And then we've learned the words hundreds, thousands, and millions in Spanish. We also have those equivalents. So we've got cientos, will be the only example, the only time where we use this word in the plural. Cientos, thousands will be miles, and millions would be millones. When writing numbers in Spanish, do we use digits or do we use letters? So for numbers are written with 1, 2, or 3 words, and also for non-technical texts, you would use letters. For larger numbers that have 4 digits or more, you would use digits. You would also use digits for writing decimals, and in Spanish we would use a comma. So 1,5 hijos por familia. And also we use digits when we are writing percentages that are higher than 10. So 75% will be written in 7, 5, and then the symbol of percentage, 75%. And also for technical texts that need precision, so think of statistics or numbers that need to be written by a scientist or something that is a bit more technical, they would be using digits for the sake of precision. We have learned how to use numbers in Spanish. We use them for just about anything, to talk about price, talk about weight, measurements, distance, the time of the day, and the day of the month. So dates. We've also learned in lesson number 6 about the ordinal numbers, how every number in Spanish has its equivalent in the ordinal vocabulary. However, we do not use those words in colloquial Spanish. So you only need to learn from number 1 to number 10 to talk about, for example, where you live. So you're going to give out your address in Spanish to anybody that you need to give it out, to an administration or to some paperwork, or just to give it out to a friend. You would need to know what these words are. So these have been included in the lesson. We have also learned how the numbers first and third are irregular and how we use them with word order, and how the ordinal numbers behave like Spanish adjectives. So they will be placed either before or after the noun, depending on how you want to convey that message. And we've also learned a very, very good trick to pronounce the Spanish letter ñ, which is a unique letter in the alphabet in this language. Every time you come across this letter, all you need to do is remember the word onion and how the sound of the N, I, and O in that letter is exactly the same as the Spanish ñ. So you cannot go wrong with that trick, and all you need to do is every time you come across an ñ in Spanish is remember the word onion, and it will become automatically with time. You can also remember the word canyon. So we've given you those two words, so choose the one that most resonates with you and practice the Spanish pronunciation of the word ñ, the letter ñ. In the Spanish conversation section of lesson number 6, we have learned how to tell the time in Spanish. So the question you need to ask to find out the information accurately is ¿qué hora es? We have learned that the hours in Spanish are feminine, and also that we need the verb ser to talk about the time and to say what time it is. We don't need anything else around it. So to say, for example, it's 1, es la 1. And to say, for example, it's 7, son las 7. So the hour, the number 1 hour, it's 1 a.m. or it's 1 p.m. is the only 1 hour because it's singular that will use the verb es in the third person of the singular, and the rest of the hours from 2 to 12 use the verb in plural, son las 7, son las 5. Also, we have learned that we use the analog clock. So we would use the numbers from 1 to 12 to tell the time. And what does that mean? So that means that we need to specify whether it's 8 in the morning or it's 8 in the evening. And in Spanish, we use the expression de la mañana, de la tarde, or de la noche. So to say that, for example, that is 5 past 1 in the afternoon, we would say es la 1:05 de la tarde. Or to say that it's 3:15 in the afternoon, son las 3:15 de la tarde. If we go to the negative side of the clock again, and we want to say that is 20 to 1, we will be taking those 20 minutes off the full hour. Es la 1:20. And if we want to say that it's 5:45, son las 6:15. Also, we've learned that even though, just to extract the time in Spanish, the question will be ¿qué hora es? But if you need to use a verb that need a preposition, like for example, at what time is the Spanish class? At what time is the Spanish class? You need a preposition as well as in the English. We use at. In Spanish, we also need a preposition, which in this case is a. So, ¿a qué hora es la clase de español? And your answer will be la clase de español. So you've got your subject and then you've got the time. Es a las 9 de la mañana.